Well, hey there, gang. Jim Jacobus. Welcome to this In the Sales Arena Sales Training webinar. Glad to have you guys with us. First off, just a little bit of an apology for the fact that we had to move the schedules. This has been like a crazy, crazy month. And so I'm glad you guys are with us here today and looking forward to our time together. Looking forward to this subject matter as well. So let's kind of dive in here and let me just say welcome. Glad to have you with us. Things are really happening around the office here. You're going to see some changes coming from us here in the next 30 days or so. We're moving all of our paid content over to a new platform. Actually, it's a platform that we own within Infusionsoft, which is our CRM tool. We're going to be using Customer Hub to be housing all of our paid content. We're getting ready to add some new stuff in there, which is something we're really excited about. So you'll see some changes coming from us. One of the things I do want to alert you to is that we are going to send out a brand new webinar link. We're going to continue to use GoToWebinar, but we're going to send out a brand new webinar link because we have been having a lot of technical challenges with the current link in other people's Outlook. It has so many different webinars listed in there that when somebody signs up with us and clicks on that webinar and signs up for the webinars you guys are attending, it winds up putting it in all different kinds of dates out there. So we're going to start a new one, and we're going to use a new link so you can look for that coming your way. And we'll be announcing it every time that we have a session this month. And we'll probably send out that link here in the next couple of days so you can get a head start on that. So anyway, glad to have you with us and looking forward to our time together. Let me tell you a little about our agenda today. First thing is I'm going to share a quick story with you, tell you something about where we're at right now, why things are just running like crazy. Second thing is we're going to talk about why cold calling is so important, 4 keys to effective cold calling. And then obviously I'm going to answer any questions that you might have about cold calling. We wanted to dive back into some nuts and bolts kinds of sales training. We've been looking at our overall calendar. We calendar about 90 days out, sometimes 120 days out, to make sure that we're bringing you a variety of content, that we're looking at strategies, which are overarching kinds of things. Quite frankly, our numbers tell us that you guys don't particularly care for that stuff. You want more of the tactical skill set kinds of stuff, and we find out that you want more of the mindset stuff. It's interesting to see the difference between the webinars and the podcasts as to which kind of content is more popular. Obviously, a webinar lends itself to more of the nuts and bolts kinds of stuff than a podcast does, but that said, nobody seems to want the strategic stuff, which I will tell you, if that's your preference, I get that. It's no big deal. Without the overarching strategies, though, a lot of the tactical and skill set stuff doesn't have a context within which to work. You know, our overall overarching strategies are executing a consistent sales process, selling value and learning how to sell value, and also we dive into how to build level 5 and 6 relationships where we are trusted advisors and consultants to our clients. Interestingly enough, most people don't want to hear about the overarching stuff. They want something they can go out there and use today. And like I said, I get that, but we were going to keep trying to cover a little bit of everything and do so in an organized fashion for you. So today we are getting very granular, very detail oriented with the cold calling. And let me tell you kind of where that came about. I was actually talking to a local realtor with Keller Williams here about 2 months ago, getting a real estate license. I'm getting one for a couple of reasons. One is I'm getting a little tired of getting on airplanes, and I wanted to get about 3 or 4 or 5 years ahead of that, coming to a something that I don't want to do very much. I'm not going to ever not do it, but I'm going to not do it as much. And so I want a real estate license. I love real estate. I used to have a license a long time ago. I have a massive database of people that we have high trust with, and I think that lends itself to being successful. So I went and talked to Keller Williams about getting a real estate license. One of my coaching clients is a lady who's just started her real estate license about 7 months ago, and she's killing it, and we're having a lot of fun working with her and helping her build a real estate career. So anyway, I go to check out getting a real estate license, and We go through the process. The guy shares with me all the information. And then he says, okay, I want to have a second conversation with you on a different subject. I go, okay. He said, I did a little bit of research about you. I found out that you like to do sales training, that you like to do coaching, and that you like to do consulting. I said, yeah. And he goes, I've got an opportunity with you for you here at Keller Williams. And he shared with me a program that they are creating to bring sales training, coaching, and consulting to their businesses. And long story short, it is what I love doing every day, and their office is 10 minutes from my house. It's got a beautiful revenue stream. It's going to be another long-term kind of a contract for us. We love big deals. We love big contracts. Matter of fact, just a while ago, I was working on a presentation I'm doing at the National Speakers Association in DC on Monday of next week called Rated R for Results, how to talk the language of big deals. And so we like these kinds of big deals. I looked at the revenue stream. I brought it home to my wife, and I got to tell you, the first thing she said to me was, why are you asking me this question? This is the dumbest question I've ever heard from you. I mean, it's what you love doing 10 minutes from the house. It's long-term. It's big. Why are you asking the question? And I just kind of thought maybe she didn't get it. So I sent the information off to my son, who's many of you guys know is a 30-year-old, just got his MBA from SMU, very bright kid, sales guy as well. And he said the same thing to me. He said, why are you asking me? That's the dumbest question I've ever heard. This sounds like a great deal. And so then I shipped it off to a couple of my buddies that do what I do, and they all said the same thing. So long story short, I created a relationship with Keller Williams, and I'm having absolute blast with them doing this work for them. In the process of working with Keller Williams, one of the things that we're working on is creating cold calling skill sets and scenarios for their people so that they can build their database. That's why I chose to do this particular webinar today, is because I was just kind of being reintroduced to how important cold calling is. So anyway, that's where we're coming from today. That's the stuff that we're talking about, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. So why a cold call in the first place? All right. Steve Jobs said, if you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. And with the guys at Keller Williams and with anybody, I don't care if you sell something once every 5 years, like real estate or automobiles. I don't care if you sell something once every 3 or 4 months to clients, or if you're selling something every day to clients. The quality of our sales is going to have a lot to do with our database, and building that database many times is a function of cold calling and just getting on the phone and reaching out to people. And most of us don't like to do that. I don't know a lot of salespeople. If you give me 100 good salespeople, not just 100, you give me 100 good salespeople, only about 5 or 10 of them love cold calling. They're kind of a bizarre breed, but there are some out there. So the bottom line, though, is what Jobs said. If you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. And I'm going to insert here, to cold call, to build your database, to grow your business. The vision for our business pulls us to be willing to do all kinds of things that we don't like to do or don't want to do, including cold calling. So that's why I think this is so important, why we're talking about today. So the first thing, we're going to talk about 4 things to do today, 4 things that we can do that will help us improve our cold calling in order to build that database and grow our business. All right. The first thing we can do, and I'm going to share this with you. I heard it from a guy named Ozzy Ramirez, who's a phenomenal real estate agent here in the Houston area at a conference I was at last week. He said this, all right, first thing, we've got to stop calling it cold calling. That is such a negative term. It's such a bad word. It's such a low energy, creates conflict kind of word that we want to stop calling it cold calling, because it just cues our mind to not like it. And for those of you who know me well, we've kind of started this tradition where we put baby pictures in every one of our presentations. So there's your baby picture for today. Hope you enjoyed it and everything. But that's kind of how we feel about it. And so we're going to stop calling it cold calling. I'm going to try not to call it cold calling during our webinar here, but we got to get this term out of our mind because it's so negative. To be more accurate, we could call it prospecting. All right. And prospectors look for gold. And I think that's what getting on the phone and calling clients is really all about, or calling potential clients, is we're looking for gold. We're looking to grow our business with people who we want to do business with. We could call it hunting. We call it farming. There's two different kinds of sales out there. We have hunters who grow business and farmers who maintain business. Well, we can be on the phone talking to potential clients and our existing clients by prospecting, hunting, and farming, all three. All of those are much better terms than cold calling is. So we're going to stop calling it cold calling, and we're going to look at these much more positive terms moving forward. So I want you to get that whole vision out of your brain. I want us to get that whole idea what a horrible thing it is out of our brain, and realize that we're prospecting, we're hunting, we're farming in order to grow our business. All right. Any questions or comments out there real quick? Let me see if you guys got anything going on. Any thoughts about that? Looking at all the folks that are here. Awesome. Glad to have you guys with us. And apologies for my voice. I wasn't going to cancel another webinar today simply because I couldn't hardly talk or breathe this morning, but woke up with fever and all that kind of stuff. So here we are working on this right now, and hope you guys are enjoying it, and hope my voice isn't too bad. So second thing we need to do in order to be successful at cold calling is we need a good list. We need a good list of people to call. There's three types of lists that we work with out there. The first list is what we would just call a random list, where we're calling people that we don't know. We don't even necessarily know whether they have a need for what we do or not. We're not familiar with them, other than they may be in a business that we have some interest in doing business with. So it's kind of a random call. There's no particular indication that they might need what we do. The second kind of list is what we call a targeted list. That is a list of people that we know do what we do. For our folks out there that are in the chemical business, it's somebody that you know buys chemicals in the products that you use. For somebody who's in a real estate business, it's somebody that everybody's going to buy or sell a house at some point in time in their life. If you're in the speaking, training, consulting business, it's an association that hires speakers for conventions and things like that. So, sorry guys, let me drink some water here. Okay. By the way, quick little note for any of you out there who do any speaking. When you have a cold and allergies and flu symptoms, and you take something like Benadryl-based medicines and everything, it will dry out your membranes, and then when you start talking, that puts pressure on them, and that will cause you and can cause you to lose your voice, which is happening to me here just only about 8 or 9 minutes into our deal. So we'll try to get through this, and my apologies again for the sound of my voice and for the coughing. I'd rather do this than to have moved the date again. So anyway, so it's a targeted list of people we know, and then the best list to call is our existing customers. People that we've done business with in the past, who know us, know our companies. And a lot of times I think when we think about calling people and prospecting, we don't think about calling people that we know and who know us. And so that is the very best list that we could possibly call on. And the better the list, the better our return on investment. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to stop calling it cold calling. We're going to call it prospecting, farming, or hunting. The second thing we're going to do is make sure that we've got the best list we possibly can. That doesn't mean that we don't. It doesn't mean that we don't call random lists, because we can get some business from that. But the better the list is, the better our return on investment. We want as good a list as we possibly can. The third thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have a great script for calling. We don't want to just pick up the phone and be random about what we're saying to folks. We want to make sure that we're calling and saying the right kinds of things to get their attention. That starts with I'm calling because I heard, I understand, I read something about them that causes us to have some reason to reach out to them. I understand that you manufacture this for our guys out there who are the Axel Nobel and sell chemicals and protective coatings. I understand that you own a 2012 Mercedes-Benz 3-Class. I understand that you are considering selling your home. I understand that, and fill in the blanks with something that gives us some good reason to be calling them. The best reason to be reaching out to them is to say, I'm calling you because my good friend Joe Smith told me to call you. I'm calling you because your people in your manufacturing department said you're the person that buys the chemicals. I'm calling you because I work with clients in the speaking industry, and my contact at ABC Association told me I should give you a call. So we want to start with some good reason why we're calling them. The second thing is we want to give them some brief value statement. I understand you manufacture this. We sell chemicals to, and then name some peers of theirs or competitors of theirs. I understand that you drive a Mercedes-Benz 3 Class. I am at Mercedes-Benz Sugarland, and I am in your neighborhood. There's got to be some value statement that says I've got some good reason to call, and I'm bringing some value to you during our time together today. And then we want to ask them a great question. Help me understand a little bit about, tell me more about how do you go about, those are the kinds of statements we'd make. If you're one of my speaker buddies out there and you're calling an association, I understand you hire speakers for your annual convention. How do you go about selecting those speakers? What's the process you use? I understand you manufacture so-and-so, so-and-so, and you use this chemical. How do you go about evaluating the companies that you do business with and that you buy chemicals from? Some kind of a question that opens up the door for them to talk. And then I would refer you back to our webinars on how to get a 15-minute meeting with anybody and what to do when you get there, because what we want to do is we want to end with a clear objective. Mr. Jacobus, I'd love 15 minutes of your time to come by and visit with you, learn about your company, learn about the methodologies that you use, determine if we could be of value to you, and to determine whether or not you would be a good fit for our company as well. And we're looking for that 15-minute meeting. And for cold calling, that's all we're looking for, is the opportunity to meet with them and learn more about them and what they're doing. All right, let me see if we've got any questions out there real quick. Sorry I'm rushing through this, but I'm trying to get it done before we run out of voice here. And let me grab a quick drink of water. Okay. Any thoughts out there? Any comments? Is this making sense? Raise your hand if it does. Let me see if this is making sense to everybody. Okay, good deal. Got some hands raised up. Awesome. Good deal. Thanks, guys. Wow, look at all the folks on the call. Okay. All right. So let's look at the fourth thing we can do. And I think this is the most important thing. And this is something, again, I'm learning from the guys at Keller Williams, just some great folks over there. And the whole idea is we have to have a big why. Anytime we are challenging ourselves to do something difficult in our business, the one thing that will push us through to get that done, to do the prospecting, to get on the phone, to do all those things that tend to scare a lot of us when it comes to sales, myself included from time to time, is we've got to have a really, really, really big why. All right. And the big why kind of falls into a couple of categories. The big why could fall into the category of revenue stream. In other words, our big why is we want to make a living. We want to make a great living. We want to create a lot of revenue. And that's certainly one of the things that would give us a big why. One of the reasons a lot of people are successful in selling is because their big why is they want freedom. They want control over their lives, that sales and or any kind of a solopreneur entrepreneurial business provides us. And so another big why could be is that you want to have more control or more freedom in your life and in your business. A big why would be because you're trying to build a life, something about your family, about the home, the car, the stuff. And again, there's nothing wrong with any of those things. We want to have a big why. But here's what I would tell you. The one big why that we need to have that will endure, because guys, the money's going to come and go, and you're going to find out if you make enough money or make a lot of money, sooner or later you can only buy so big a house or whatever. You will run out of things to do with the money. Second thing is, sooner or later the freedom is not going to mean as much to you because it becomes commonplace in your life and in your career. The only thing that is significant that will last forever is a big why that includes and incorporates making a difference in other people's lives. And so if whatever we're doing has something to do with helping others, with growing others, with contributing to the lives of other people, then I can tell you this, that your big why is going to have a lot more significance. I was talking to a client here recently who came to me and said, look, I want to change careers. I've been in the chemical business for a while. I make a lot of money, but quite frankly, I don't feel like I'm making a difference in people's lives other than a handful of customers. I don't have any direct connect with making a difference in somebody's life, and I want to move in that direction. And so we started working on a transition process for him to move out of selling chemicals and move towards selling something that would perhaps bring more value to him than what he gains from the company that he works for. And he works for one of our big clients, and I've known him a long time, and they're great folks, but he just didn't feel like he was doing something that was connected to changing people's lives. So at the end of the day, our big why has got to have something to do. Again, I'm sorry, guys. Hang on. Mercy. Our big why's got to have something to do with impacting other people's lives and being able to bring value to people in a way that goes beyond the money, goes beyond the paycheck, goes beyond the career, goes beyond the 9 to 5, goes beyond all the stuff, and at the end of the day has some impact. And again, that's coming back to what Job said, and Job said, if you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. And I just love that quote. And he was all about creating products that would change the life of literally millions of people. And certainly they did. So anyway, questions that you guys have out there? Any remedies for the summer flu and about 101 temperature and eyes that are glassy and red? Well, you guys are really helpful today. Come on. Let's see what you got out there for me. Rest and don't work. As soon as I hang up, I'm going back to bed, David. Thank you. Appreciate that. More rest. Yes. As soon as I get off of this webinar, I'm right straight back to bed for you guys. So thank you. Appreciate that. Anyway. Okay. And fluids. Thank you. I'm going to need a bunch of them here after I get through this. So, all right, guys. Well, again, as always, here's our hope for you. This year in 2015, we're a little over halfway through and looking for a big push toward the end of the year. Like I said, you're going to see some new things coming from us. If you're new in the business, new in selling, we want to help you create that foundation to build the life and career that you want. If you've been at it for a while and you're kind of what we call stuck in the middle, we want to help you get out of there. And certainly if you're at the top, we don't want to just help you stay at the top. We want to help you do numbers nobody's ever seen before. So, again, we thank you. Appreciate your time. Again, my apologies for the scratchy throat and the coughing today. I'll see if I can't edit that out of the video. Look for some new stuff coming from us, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next week. We'll be doing one of our coaching calls next Thursday. I'll be right back from the National Speakers Association convention in DC, so no doubt I'll be all fired up and looking forward to our time together. And hopefully I will have recovered from this beautiful, wonderful feeling that I have going on here. So I hope you guys have a great day, and certainly if we can do anything for you, let us know. Go out there and build the life and career that you want. Do something significant this week to make that happen. Take care, gang.